Hey guys, this is Rachadan. So what's up? So today I have a very cool little project, a simple project to build for beginners, JavaScript learners. So it's a JavaScript calculator. So it's very simple, alright guys. So I have a heading over here and some kind of like a paragraph describing about this calculator. And then we have a section for the calculator itself, to actually two input boxes and a drop down menu, and we have a submit text. Once we hover over it, it's just gonna change the color, so CSS, and it's gonna give us the results. So it's a very simple project that people could just small JavaScript learners can just try this out. So yeah, I'll just show you guys how this works. So you can just go to the input 2 and just type 20, and you can select whatever you want. Let me just go to multiply and just click submit, and it's just gonna go we have an empty h1 in our element, so it's gonna just basically grab that, and from the in HTML, so it's gonna change it in HTML. That's it. So we're gonna do this in JavaScript. I think it's a cool project to try out, and I'm not gonna do the CSS part of this because that's not the motive of the video. So yep, let's get started with the video. Alright, I'm gonna have Visual Studio open, and I'm gonna create 3 files. First, it's going to be index.html, style.css, and app.js for the JavaScript file. So yeah, we're good to go, and we have 3 files have been created, and now yeah, we can basically get started. Alright, so in our index.html, we want to generate a ball template, a first ball template. Alright, we can call this JavaScript Calculator. Alright, so then I want to link a style sheet also. So as I said, I'm not going to do my CSS part. It's just going to be the index.html and the style and also the JavaScript, because it's pretty simple to do. And now we're going to have a header there, and inside the header I'm going to have one h1, and I want to call it JavaScript Calculator. Okay, we want to have an h1, and then down we're going to have a p tag. I'm just going to copy that up from here. I'm just going to copy this text here. Okay, so copy that, and I'm going to go paste that up there, and that's just it for the heading. Okay, now we're going to have another section. So I'm just going to have a class of a container. You can have a section, whatever. I'm just going to have a div with a class of a container. So I'm going to call this container as calculator. Okay, so I'm just going to call this calculator. Yeah, so inside this I'm gonna have 2 inputs. All right, so input type of text, not text, actually it should be number. All right, so we don't need a name, we don't need an ID, it's good for you. Okay, so now that's done, but we need a class to it because we want to target this up in the CSS as well as the HTML. All right, so we have an input /1 to get the input. I'm going to copy that, paste it up, and I'm going to change the second one to input type 2, and type should be number. So make sure you do it, and what you want to do is to go right here and also have some placeholders to it. So we do have it, and I'm going to call this input 1, and I'm going to copy this up, and let me just paste it, and let me just put this input 2. That's pretty good. Alright guys, now that part is done. Now we're going to have a select element, not section, a select element. Okay, so this is not going to consist of a name or an ID, just a simple class. So we just give it a class, and or even an ID, it's just fine. So we just be unique, just have an ID there, and let's call it operate. Okay, because it's just gonna operate stuff, so we just be unique on that, precise to be fair. So yeah, we have select ID of calling an ID of an operator, and in this we have options. All right, now we're gonna have option. We're gonna have 4 options, so we can just do this with emit. And for first one it's gonna be add, and a second one I want to get subtract. Okay, and the third one should be divide, and the fourth one, no sorry, it should be multiply, I think. Okay, so should multiply, and the fourth one it should be divide. All right, so that's good. And why we have the value is because we can actually get the value of the drop down and actually create the calculator in JavaScript. So that's the only reason we have a value. So we have for add I have a value of add, and for the subtract let me just have it sub, it's good there. And for the multiply we have just mul, and for the divide we have the div. Okay, so that's just that for that, and we can have some break tag there just to break it up. I'm just not gonna create anything else like a separate div or something. We're gonna have a break tag, break element order. So next we just have a simple button, and this button is gonna get a class of submit btn. It's just because I'm gonna target this in the ht, sorry, just want to put it like that. Okay, camel case. Okay guys, now this is because I want to target this up in a css as well as javascript, so that's the only reason, and that's done. And at last you should have seen an element popping up, something like this. Okay, so this is just an empty element, so that's what we're gonna do. We just want to create something empty. Okay, so we can actually call this, we can have a div inside this, and just put it up, and in this we're gonna have a class, and in the class we can have result. All right, that's good there, it's just good for that. And we can have an h3, and we can call this result, and a empty h1 here, which you're gonna target that in JavaScript and give it an inner HTML. All right, so we can actually have a class inside this. So I want to have a class, and we just want to call that result h1. All right, save it up. That's it for it. That's simply it, and we can just type some numbers right there. That's pretty cool. All right, let's go check it out. Oh, I've got to open this up in the live server. All right, let's open this up in the live server, and it should be opening up. It should be good to go. I don't know why it's coming in Mozilla, but we just get rid of that. All right guys, now it should be good to go. So this is just the HTML that we have done. The CSS, I said I'm not going to do the CSS because that's not the actual motive of the video. So we'll just get the CSS from this file itself. I'm going to Control A, copy that. I'll be sure to make more tutorials in the future regarding HTML and CSS. So one is coming tomorrow, so be ready for that. I'm just going to put that, save that up. And let me just go back and check it, and there's an error. I don't know what's the error actually. So the submit button has some kind of an error. Let's check it out. And it should be submit btn. That's one thing we've spotted there. Okay, so that one is good, and we want to have a break tag. Okay, so we want to come right to the input tag, and we want to have a break tag there, and also a break tag here. So now that's done, and it should work pretty well and pretty cool. Okay guys, that's just it. I just go with the CSS. I'm just gonna going over the CSS. Now basically I just have a body, just some main stylings, and some body, some font, and the header I'm just gonna have text center, give it the background color and a color of text. And the calculator, I'm just gonna go give it a background, just simple margin, padding, just simple stuff guys, so nothing big or more. So for the input we have some simple styling, and also I'll leave the link for the style sheet in the description, so you don't really want to worry about that. So yeah, that's it, just simple styling I have there. I'll leave this in the link in the description. So yeah, I think the design is pretty cool, but there's nothing working. All right, so once I click submit, there's nothing, there's simply nothing. Okay, so that's one thing. Also guys, the hover, I think I do have it here obviously. Yeah, it's basically swapping the colors. All right, swapping the background. I actually have the background of this to like on black, so I'm gonna have the background to white and the color to black, and also giving it a 0.3 ease in out transition. Just simply that. It's okay. Let's get rid of that, and we're gonna go for that .js, but before that we're gonna link a script tag source with app.js. Okay, that's done, and I want to have app.js. Alright guys, so now we can actually get started with the JavaScript. So I just wanted to show you guys like the basic. We have to think about this logically. So anyway, this error is nothing, it's just the live server error. You don't really want to care about that. Alright, no, so we just want to think something logically. Okay, now we basically want to output any element in anything, like any input or multiplication or whatever, once anyone clicks on a submit button. Okay, so we have to first of all track the submit button, and if anyone clicks on that, then is that what we want to basically do any function, calculate the function, or do anything. All right, so once we click submit, we want something to happen. All right, so basically we want to get the submit button in the first place. Okay, we want to get it from the DOM, so we'll simply call this submit btn. as we gave it a class as well, the same name. So when I say document dot query selector, and we're gonna give a class of the same thing, submit button. So we say submit btn, which we gave it a class submit btn. Okay, now that's done. So as I said before, if anyone actually clicks on that, we want to run something. So let's actually track the click. So you want to basically add an event listener. So submit button, but add event listener, and if anyone clicks on that, okay, just console log something. Okay, which is, I'll just say no, you can't do this. Okay, you want to basically have a function. So we create a function and a normal function, and simply we can console.log hey. Okay, so if anyone clicks on the submit button, it's gonna console.log hey. Okay, refresh it up. So I'm just gonna click on the submit button, and there we go, it's actually outputting hey there. Okay, and they're basically it's incrementing that. Okay, basically outputting. All right. Okay, now that's working. We know if it says submit button click event is actually working, but we don't need to console this log. All right, we just need to do some calculations. So I'm just gonna have a function. I'm just gonna call a function called calculate. If anyone clicks on the submit button, I want something a function to run, which is called calculate. Okay, so this is the function's name, and simply that, calculate. I didn't really create the function, so let's create a function right now. So I'm going to say a function, and we call it calculate. Okay, so this is a function, and we're going to run whatever is going to run inside this. It's just connected with the submit.btn. If anyone clicks on the submit button, we want to run the function called calculate. So yes, first of all, what we need to do is to go to index.html. Okay, so now we want to actually get the values. Okay, this input, we have two inputs with a class of input 1, input 2. We basically want to get the values of this in order to calculate this, and actually, yeah, basically get the values of it. Okay, so let's get that. So first of all, we want to get that from the DOM. I just don't like saying that. I won't say that. I promise I won't say this again. Okay, so I say input 1, just call it like that, and I would say document dot query selector, and we actually gave it a class of input 1. All right, so that's there, and copy that, paste that, come back, call it input 2, and simply put that input 2. Okay, so that's right. And the next one that we have, okay, now we just work with this one. Now we just basically get the values of that. We just console.log the values of the input. So we want to say input 1 dot value. Okay, just a simple value, not a node value. All right, so just a simple value. So if anyone clicks on the submit button, the first input box value is just going to come. So I'm just put some random numbers. Once I click on that, so there we go, we're getting that. We're console.logging. Okay, so whatever. So whenever I click on that, whenever I change a number and I click on submit, it's just gonna get that value. So it's actually getting the value, but actually guys, it's not, this value is not a string, not a number, it's actually a string. So we want to convert that. So you can use parse int or float to it. So using a float is fine. So because if anyone user inputs a decimal value, it should be able to grab the decimal value itself and turn it to a number. So that's that. And yeah, so we know it's actually working, so obviously number 2 also would work. Yes, so that's done. Now we also want to get it from our index.html. We want to get this operator. All right, so where is it? The operator, because this operator, this with select with an ID of operator, this is what we're gonna do some functions, another function inside the function, which is going to be called as, it's just an if statement, right? So nothing more. So that's it. So we want to get the results as well. So when I say const result h1, which is I'll just go over it basically. We just do it in the first place, document.query selector, and I gave it a class of result h1. Okay, so that's good there. Okay, that's there. And we also want to get our operator, and I say document dot query selector, and this is going to be, actually guys, this is an ID, so you can use element, get element by ID, so you're just gonna go with operator, just a query selector. Okay, so alright guys, that's it. Now you actually have to get the values of it, obviously, or with this operator, because these, all of this has a value, but you know, you can just give dot value here itself, or you can just simply, you know, get the values in the if statement itself. I'm just gonna use switch. So yeah, so guys, what the hell have I actually done? So you might be really confused if you're a beginner. Obviously guys, it's very simple. I just got the h1, which is blank here. All right, so this one h1, I have some values, but this is actually not displayed because in our CSS I have simply given it a default value of, where is it? Okay, this one, display none. I can just give, okay, what the hell, cancel. Okay, so I'll just give block to this. All right, so I want to just give block to this, and let me just go and show you. All right, so there we go, you have the div, right? I'm just hiding that, all right, because you know, when the user clicks, only we need that to, I just need that to appear and do some, you know, calculations and display that. So we'll, at default, I'm just leaving this to display none, so then I can actually give display block in a JavaScript. So that's just the main idea. All right, so also this operator, as I said before, simple as that. All right, so I think that's it, I think. Okay, so now what we need to do is to, okay, there's an error here. All right, let's resolve that. All right, that's good. All right guys, now we actually created this. Now we want to perform some calculations. All right, so to get the calculations, first of all, as I said before, I want to get the values of this. I want to get the value of the two input tags, so we can create some variables. We're gonna can call num1. So we're gonna get, this is gonna be input, because I just don't want to use input.value, but just pass float this, plot float that, the input 2. I just don't want to repeat that, just simply creating a variable instead of that. And basically we want to get the value, and as I said before, this is actually a string, and just to convert this into a into a number, you just want to use parse int or parse float. So in this case we should use parse int because it's a calculation, and it's a possibility to a user to actually you know, input decimal values. Okay, so parse int would make it, round it off and make it an integer. Okay, and this one number 2, and this should be input 2 dot value, and I'm going to put number 2. all right, so basically this dim red is basically coming because it's not basically used. Okay, this is not used, that's it, there's no error, nothing, so don't worry about that. And I want to also create an empty not an empty, just a normal variable called result. Just leave it as it is. All right guys, so I think that's it, and we can proceed further, I think. So okay, yeah, that's done guys. Now we can proceed further. Now what we need to do is to just basically get the value of input 1, get the value of input 2, and check whether it's add, subtract, or multiply, and just get that information. If it's an add, you have a if statement for that. You want to do something else for the subtract, something else for the divide and multiply. So you want to get that, and then once we submit that, it's just gonna calculate it and actually display it here, right here, which we should basically have in a result h1, as I showed before. So that's just gonna be it. So yeah, let's actually have a if statement, no, actually a switch statement. If you're okay with if, then you can do it, whatever. So you know, we just stick with the the newer modern standards. So we're gonna say switch and operator. Okay, as I said before guys, if you're using operator dot value here, because I actually got the error before when I was doing it, because I didn't use the value. All right, because you want to get each and every value. All right, so you can just have dot value here. If you're not having that, then you can just have it in the switch statement itself, operator dot value. All right, so that's just very easy. And switch operator value. All right, so we'll just leave some space with these brackets. All right, okay, now what we need to specify is switch. We want to get the main value, okay, operator of value. This is going to be the main thing here. What do you want to call this? Okay, it's going to be the element, whatever. Okay, now we're going to check the value. If the value is at, you want to do something else. If the variable is minus, you multiply, whatever, you want to do something else. So obviously switch case, you want to use case, and you can say if the value is actually add, if the value is add, then you want to perform a function right here. Okay, so if the value is at, you basically want to add it, right? So let's do the addition. As we said before, we actually got this value in number 1, so we actually we also have a nothing like a variable called results, so we can have that as well. So we want to say result, which is basically the addition. All right, so over here number 1 plus number 2, so this is just it. Okay, so I'm just gonna console.log this, just for the heck of it. Let's test it. Okay, so let's go back and refresh this. I'm just gonna put 2 and 2, and it's add. Once I click on submit, I'm gonna get 4. All right, so you can put whatever you want, number, submit, you want to get the value there. Okay, anytime you submit that, it's just gonna give the value. Even you put subtract, guys, you're not gonna get anything, because we don't really have it right now. So as I said before, guys, we don't really want to console this log. We want to display this in the h1 element, so we want to do that. So we actually got that right here, const document.query selector h1. So first of all, you want to display this block. As I said before, you want to make that appear, and once it appears, you want to insert the in HTML value to anything you want. So just a simple basic logic operation, or what you want to call. Okay, so I'm going to get result the h1, because that's the CSS which we have given class of none. So when I say style dot display, what the hell? Okay, style dot display is equals to block. Okay, block. Okay, so that's there, and let's check it out whether it's working. Submit that, and okay, so submit, and there's an error, style of null. Okay, what the hell is that? So what's an error there? Result h1 dot style dot display is equals to block. I think it's because it should be coming on code style of a null dot calculate. All right, I think it's just put some values here and try that. I don't know what's the error there. Just put that, refresh it, put some values there, and just submit that. So what's the error there? But style dot display is equals to block. Alright guys, the error is basically, this is a class, so I forgot to have that dot over there. Okay, simple. That's what JavaScript couldn't read that. Okay, I put some any values and I click submit, and that's basically gonna give just display that, but this is not the answer. All right, so it's gonna display that. That's working pretty good. All right, now what we want to do is to display this block, and you want to change the inner HTML of that. So I'm gonna get result h1 dot inner HTML, and we want to set that to the result which we basically calculated right now. All right, so now let's check it up, and we'll put 2 and 2 should be 4, and there we go, we have 4, simply as that. Now we have done the basis of the add. Now you want to just also guys, you want to break this out, okay, or else it's just gonna continue ever forever. Okay, ever and forever. So yeah, so now I'm just gonna copy this. I'm gonna come back, paste, I'm just gonna copy this and paste this up here. Let me just indent this. Okay, should be fine. And now we want to call this sub. If the case of this is actually subtract, it should be giving me, wait, what's the error now? Oh, copy this, and then it should be inside this one, inside the switch statement. All right, so now if the case of this is actually subtract, if actually it's going to be subtract, then you simply want to do subtract. So let's just simply changing the values to minus. So that's done. All right, so okay, now let's check that up. Put 2 select subtract, and it should be 0. Okay, now that's working. And now what we wanted to have is paste that again, and simply change this to multiplication, because it's going to be multiplication, and change the value of this to mul, which is multiplication, a value which we gave. And I think, wait, why am I doing it again and again? The mistake. All right, inside this one. All right, so that's that. Okay, so we just indent this up a little bit. Okay, so now this for multiplication. Let's check this out. Should be 4 multiply, and there should be 4. That's good. And at last we have division, which is a class of div, and change the value to this, which is going to be division. All right, so I think it's done. All right, it's done. Just put 2 over here, 2 over here, and divide. Click on sub. Okay, there's an error. What the hell is that? And yeah, this one. Why am I making this error, man? All right, so that's it. I think it should be working, and it should be, let's just put 4. It should be 2, and divide, and it should be 2. All right, you can put whatever values you want. It should be 15 right now, 1.5. All right, so guys, that's it for the video, guys. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. I'm sorry I couldn't actually do this style.css because it have to take a while. It's gonna take a while, and that's not the main purpose of the video as well. And also guys, now if nothing, I also want to mention that if there's nothing in the input box, and if you just click on submit, it's going to get not a number. So what you could simply do is you basically run an if statement and check if the values of the input 1 and the input 2 is 0, and if the length is 0, basically not the value, then you don't really run the whole switch function or the submit button, whatever. Okay, that could be a main part in that. So I think that's it for the video, guys. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. In the next video, I'm going to be making a fully static website design, so that's coming tomorrow. Anyway guys, hopefully you guys did enjoy. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.